The USTEC 100, another profitable position we have here ongoing at this particular point in time, as we saw how price action has been finding higher highs and higher lows presently in the last 24 hours. But before we go into the details on that one, let's quickly run through what our expectations was looking like at the beginning of the week and what structure we saw and how we have been managing this trade since the week began. So here we are on the 1 hour time frame, and the first thing we observed on the higher time frame, of course, was this $15,000 level, which was supposed to be serving as our key level for the week. And you know how we use key levels in this community. Price remaining below the key level was a good scenario for us to look out for selling opportunities. And throughout the first half of this week, we noticed that price action remained below the key level, which gave us an opportunity to sell. And in addition to that key level, we spotted this range at the beginning of the week where price action was caught within that $15,000 mark and the 14,890 level to give us a flat channel to work with. And with the breakdown of the flat channel, that was our first signal that sellers might likely be dictating the pace for this week. Then we saw price come back to retest structure, and we joined the bearish move below the 14,890 as we rode that move all the way to the downside. And in fact, we had price action move over 200 pips on the first position, and we had the privilege of maximizing this move as we added more opportunities, had the breakdown of the 14,800 to give us about 120 pips before this bullish momentum began. So we were able to scoop close to 300 pips on the USTEC 100 during the first half of the week. Then on Tuesday, we acknowledged this trend line after connecting the series of lower highs, and we said here that as long as price remains below the trend line, we shall continue to look out for selling opportunities. And we are only buying if price action breaks out this trend line, and this was exactly what happened on Tuesday. I think a couple of hours into the New York session, we saw the breakout of the structure, which triggered our buy position. And since then, we have been riding this move all the way to the upside. So since the 14,800 level was triggered here, you can see if you still have a buy position running right now, you will currently be running with over 200 pips in profit on that one. And remember, we had the privilege of adding more position to our existing trade. If you recall vividly, during our live session yesterday, we acknowledged this range between the 14,910 and the 14,850, giving us an insight into the level of indecision at that point. And one thing we said here yesterday is that we are going to wait patiently for either a breakdown retest of the structure to sell, or wait for price action to break out, retest of the resistance line at the 14,910 level to incite an opportunity to buy. And as you can see what happened, we saw price break out. So even if you had missed out on this opportunity, the market presented another chance as we saw a retest of structure multiple times, in fact, to incite this second wave of bullish momentum. So we had the privilege of joining more positions above the 14,910 level. And I told us all yesterday that if price action continues to climb to the upside, a further breakout of our key level at the $15,000 mark will be welcoming more opportunities here. So at this particular point in time, we have a minimum of 3 positions running. The first one at the 14,800. Then we had the second one at the breakout of the 14,900. And we had a third one here at the breakout of the $15,000 mark. So it has been quite a profitable trade for us since the beginning of this week. And for those who are taking advantage of these opportunities, well done to you for being on standby to have caught this move. And if you still have your buy position running at this point, it is quite reasonable that you want to be moving your stop losses, as we always do, to secure the current buy position, as we don't want to lose out on the profit we had made so far. So right now, where is the most appropriate zone to move all stop losses to? Well, based on the current structure, we have a previous low here around the 14,950, and of course we want to give room for price action to breed, so I will be suggesting between the 14,970 and the 14,940 as an area you want to be moving all stop losses to at this particular point in time, while we wait out and see if this momentum will still continue to the upside. Now, with our positions well secured at this point and in anticipation of the New York session, what is going to be our plan? How do we intend to join this? Are we still going to be buying the USTEC 100, or are we going to be getting ready to sell the USTEC 100? Well, the first thing I would like us to do here is to acknowledge the highest point price action has been for this week, which falls exactly at around the $15,050 level, a psychological level there, considering the round figure of that price. So we have the $15,050 area. That is the highest point price action has been for this week. And obviously, we want to be seeing a breakout of this highest point for more opportunities to buy the USTEC 100. Now, in addition to that, remember we have been noticing higher lows since the beginning of this week, emphasizing the strength of the buyers. So the next thing we want to be doing now is to acknowledge the higher lows here by connecting these lows together. So if we do that correctly, we should be having something like this, which will definitely be one of the yardstick we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for today. So I would like to thicken this a little bit to emphasize its importance at this juncture. Then we'll do some little adjustment while we bring back our candle chart, and then readjust it to capture most of the pivot lows here. So beautiful. Now we have a trend line to work with for today. So what this simply means is that as long as price action remains above the trend line, we'll feel comfortable in our buy position, while we also look out for more opportunities to buy. So at this point in time, I'm suggesting that we have a buy stop order. This is especially for those who already profitable on the USTEC 100, so we can still leverage on the profit we had made so far this week to test waters around that $15,050 area to maximize the potential of this bullish move to the upside. So that is what we are going to be looking at on the USTEC 100 today. So it's still looking very bullish here. So we continue to maintain a bullish bias on this instrument. However, you know how we do it in this community. We also want to keep tabs with the potentials of sellers too as well. And for the fact that we have witnessed some selling pressure around that 15,050 during the later part of the New York session yesterday, and since yesterday we are yet to see price action find a new high, break out of the previous high here. So it's a clear sign that sellers are still very present here, and buyers are trying as much as possible to gain that momentum to break through that level. So in as much as we have this kind of situation, we cannot ignore the potentials of sellers. So now, what do we want to see on this chart that will make us consider selling and negating the idea of buying the USTEC 100? Well, we have a trend line, of course, which we identified earlier, and we have our key level along, hold on a second, we have our trend line here, and then we have our key level along that $15,000 mark, a strong psychological level, considering the round figure of that price to guide our trading activity for today. So if price action at any point in time today breaks down both of the structures, then we have no choice than to start thinking of selling the USTEC 100. So if we cite a breakdown of the structure, remember, we are not getting too excited. We are not jumping right in. So we don't have a sell stop yet. This is a very, very strong bullish momentum since the beginning of this week. And of course, we want to wait for confirmations to happen before we want to join any bearish move here. So we want to see signs that sellers are gradually gaining momentum. And in that regard, we shall scale down into our lower time frame as soon as the breakdown of that structure happens. We want to see something like a retest of either the key level at the $15,000 mark or the trend line here, where the continued selling pressure here reveals that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the structure, after which we want to be joining a bearish move to the downside. So this is how we are going to be selling the USTEC 100 for today. So let's keep this in mind. Mark these levels out on our chart. So as long as price action remains above the structure, we definitely want to remain bullish. But if a breakdown of the structure happens today, we are going to be getting ready to sell. So you can see the importance of the $15,000 mark and that ascending trend line we identify here. So these are the major parameters we are going to be using to guide our trading activity today. Then mark out the 15,050, where we are waiting for a breakout retest of that level for more buying opportunities in this market. So that is my view here on the USTEC 100 for today. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section.